about the fact that you're supposed to know when a business is doing well and when it's not. Okay, now if you want to know business that are not doing well, like I said earlier on, you have to walk into those places. That's one way, anyway. You walk into those places, and one easy way, like I said earlier on, is that you find people walking in or not. People are walking in within 30 minutes, okay? That indicates that something is happening. You understand? Something is actually happening. But if, as a matter of fact, as a digital marketer, you observe whether you're a new person in the field or you've had a number of years, you'd actually observe that if they walk in, are they even if they are not making any purchase, but the fact that they are walking in is an indication that something is happening here. That's the first one. Then another way you get to know if a business is doing so well is their website. Companies that are doing exceptionally well would often optimize their website more. And two, they would often provide content. That is one of the characteristics. Is it a general law? No, it's not. But if you find a company that wants to do well or that is doing well already, they often have a very good website. When I mean a very good website, I'm not about color or font, but the fact that your website are friendly. There are certain websites that are not friendly, actually. You go on a website, it takes time to load. You understand? And it doesn't work well on a mobile device. Or you're looking at information that are irrelevant to you. Imagine if you check on this company website and you get information about the CEO, the manager, or some other individuals. But that information is not bad itself. But does it concern you? It doesn't, and it doesn't affect. Is it possible you guys take the other side? Is it possible you guys take the other side? Because I have to record the class for stuff. Please. Oh, what's going to happen is I'll shift go this side so now my feet waiting now one day. Yeah. So let me you start cut that off because I know a distraction. All right. I'm gonna continue. So so you walk into the firm and you would observe that okay, and this guy is doing so well with sales. If they are not, like I said, that's the first one. The second one is the website, right? If they have valuable information. See, website when you find a website without valuable information, it is indicated that nobody goes there. It is like a grave with no dead body. In fact, a dead body is even something, right? So imagine a website where you go and, in other words, this company just have a website for having sake. You understand? So that's one way you get to know. Then the third way is their social media handle. Do they have any social media handle? If they don't have any, it is an indication that there is a lot of things you can do for them automatically. If you search for that company online and there's nothing online, no social media handle, no websites, they are not on Google Map, my God, there's a lot of things you can do as a digital marketer. The first thing you can actually do is to put them on Google Map and ensure they own the space. In other words, now, if you, for example, this company is on Google Map, you understand, isn't just because we actually indicated our location on the map, but it's because there's a thing called owning. You have to own your location. After putting your space, you have to own it. There are two steps in owning your space on Google Map. You go through a process of verification. You understand? It's a very cheap process of inputting your phone number and your location. Like it is mine. I own the place. You get it's very simple. So that's to tell you that you see there are two things you need to understand. The CEO may be aware that we're not so doing well. And secondly, it's possible that they are not really conscious of the potentials they have when they get online. So it's not your job to, okay, now you see where we're coming from, right? So it is indicating that you can do a lot as a digital marketer. You can actually achieve a lot for a company when you know how to organize them online. For example, if I throw in the water, okay, and you don't know how to swim, what happened? The other happened, right? But if you're very good with swimming, you move flawlessly through the water, right? That's it. That's what happens to a fish. When you put a fish in the water, it moves, right? It's natural. In the same way, as a digital marketing expert that you're becoming, you have to understand the loopholes in the company. You have to be quick to produce results. It doesn't have to be huge. It can be basic. You understand? It doesn't have to be huge. It can be very basic. But what happens is this that as time goes on, okay, as time goes on, you are constantly improving. You understand? Truth is, as a digital marketer, no matter how much you know, you're always going to be improving at the job. There's something you're going to learn. Others may not know it, but it's part of the experience. You understand? For example, when I came in, I observed that many of our social media handles were wrongly made. What's the word for it? Were wrongly initiated. In other words, the person who placed the handle, okay, use underage uh, here, and I think it was around 16 to something for a social media handle, a business social media, and that gave us a lot of issue. It wasn't just one, it was for every of the social media handle. I have to rectify that problem. You understand? Because we could not allow our ad, or rather, Meta could not allow our handle show our ads to the right kind of people. You understand? Because it wasn't for kids; it was for people who could pay half a million and more. You understand? So that had to happen. Did I get that from the class? No. But over time, you learn these things. So, in other words, there's a part of knowledge, there's the other part of what experience, and they are both important. Knowledge helps you build the foundation. It tells you what to do. You have to know what to do. The experience makes you more flexible. You understand? So, I'm going to give you some explanation about digital marketing and every other single thing that you have to understand. But it's important that you have a flexible mind. Okay? You have to have a flexible mind. And so I'm going to begin with what I've got here. Okay. Now, this is the first time you're taking note, right? So let's begin with what is marketing. I'm going to begin from that. Do I give you explanation first before? Would you prefer explanation before notes or note before explanation? What do you prefer? All right. Now, what is marketing or introduction of marketing? Marketing is the art and science of selling products and services. Marketing is the art and science of selling products and services. Marketing is the art and science of selling products and services. Isn't that right? All right. Now, a big chunk of marketing is taken out by adverts. A big part, a big chunk of marketing is taken out by adverts. A big chunk of marketing is taken out by adverts. Full Then you're going to write this down. $563 billion, $563 billion was spent globally on advertising in 2019. $563 billion was spent globally on advertising in 2019. All right, now a new paragraph. Marketing according to the American Marketing according to the American Marketing Association. Marketing according to the American Marketing Association. Is that what you're using to jot your notes? Are you sure you won't use that book? Marketing according to the American Marketing Association is the activity, comma, is the activity, comma, set of institutions, comma, and process, and processes, and processes, and processes for creating, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. partners, and society at large. Full stop. All right. Now I'm going to come in here. I understand that when we spoke yesterday, I said something about what marketing is to the newbie. Right. Though this is your first time, like I said, you're not just taking a class, you're also getting internship yet. You get. So now that is marketing. Is according to the American Marketing Association, is the activity, set of institution and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offering that have values for customers. Okay. In simple words, it's the process for creating or communicating value that has offerings that have value to customers. You understand? Obviously, in exchange for what? Yeah, for money. But the thing is this: that definition is fine, okay, but it isn't good enough if you want a first-hand view of what marketing is. And you can write this down. Marketing is the art of selling exactly an experience to people, even before touching the product or having the service. That what it is. Truly, seeing is believing, but it depends on how you define the word seeing. Do you understand? Seeing is believing, it is true, but it depends on how you define the word seeing. For example, can you see the hair? The air, but you know it's here. You can feel it, right? So when we say I can see, it's not actually literal, it is contextual. In other words, it's not as it is written. Okay? When we say see, it talks about the fact that you can actually observe something. For example, I see with my eye, but I can perceive with my nose, right? I taste with my tongue, right? And I feel with my skin, right? In other words, it's not about the eye, it's about the mind. It's about perception. Okay. Now, if I ask you for the price of a laptop, maybe you say a laptop, you could say it's for maybe 300K. Okay. There's somewhere I would go to and I would get it for less. There's also another place I would go to and I'm not expecting them to tell me anything less than half a million or maybe a million. You get it? And there are certain laptops I will see there that I may not see somewhere else. In other words, we have to try and create a perception in our client's mind. Okay, it's a game of psychology. When we talk about marketing, marketing is actually a game of psychology. It's because you see, sometimes people don't see the value of what you do. They might see the value, but they don't see the entire picture. So what we do is we make them see. Truly, seeing is believing. But the seeing isn't really about the physical eyes, but actually having a mental perception, you understand, of that experience. For example, if I let's I'm into security, and one common thing here is we, and it's not wrong, people they pray, right? They believe yes, God is protecting me, and that's very true. But does it mean that you should be careless? No, right? And so imagine if I set up a company where I provide CCTVs or CTVs, okay, to homes and communities. Now, first of all, it's not common in Edo State, right? It's not so common, especially in parts like apart from Airport Road. Even Airport Road, you don't have CCTV everywhere, except in banks. And so, how do I make people understand that their own security is in their hands? Do you understand? And they have a part to play because they have a part to play. You get? So, how do I effectively do that? The first step is to create a perception of insecurity. You know, because people are more motivated by the negative than the positive. But I have to bring the negative in a way that it doesn't scare them, but makes them understand that they have to be intentional in protecting their lives. You get the idea? So, what I'm trying to share with you here is this that they haven't seen the product, they haven't touched it, but you're making them feel the benefit of using your products, how they are protecting their lives. You get it? So, in other words, to be an effective marketer, you have to be an effective communicator. And when I mean communication, I don't mean just speaking. I mean, you have to be able to write. You also have to be able to act. You go to church, right? There are times your pastors give an example, or maybe your imam, maybe you go to mosque. And there are times he wants to explain something. He has to have what? A facial expression. Do you understand? That's step 4 in content creation. I'm going to teach you that later on. This step 4 talks about the fact that you have to put in energy. There's an amount of energy and emotion that is necessary to produce the kind of effect that you want. It is not possible if, for example, I meet you up and I'm giving an introduction to something that is happening, maybe a seminar on sports and exercise. Truth is, people, young guys especially, love to watch sport, but they hate to participate in sports. A lot of them. When I mean sport, I don't mean just going to a field to play. I mean exercise, regular exercise, because it's difficult. Wake up in the morning for push-ups, sit-ups, crossover, kick feet, and stuff like that. You understand? It's a lot. Now, if I come that way to you, you probably may not come to the seminar, right? Because you're like, I have other things to do. Even if you don't have anything, TikTok is enough to distract you. So how do I make you want to create time for it? Number one, I'm going to tell you the negative. What's the negative? The negative is that if you don't exercise yourself, you have you be unhealthy. Okay, you don't have a good heart. Your brain won't function properly because whenever you exercise, there's a supply of blood to the brain faster than ever. I've experienced it. You understand? While I was in the University of Benin, every time I exercise before going to the library, I read better and understand better. Maybe just push-ups, crossover, whatever it is, I feel better. You understand? And I'm faster. You get? And so you want to be faster. So do you want to be faster? You want to ensure your heart is all right, your brain is functioning 100% better. If not 100% better, but at least you're sure to make it 57% better. You wanna have a good liver, your kidneys, you want to look beautiful than you are right now, then you have to exercise. Now, I didn't tell you about the seminar, right? But I'm showing you a new light. I'm actually bringing you something new that you've never done before. You get it? That's how it works as a marketer. That's how you have to make it. So before you talk about your product, the features and benefits, bring me an experience that I've never had. Even if I've had it, make it look like it has never happened. You go to church and the pastor is giving a story that he has said before, but he says it in a way as if you've never heard it. Okay? Let me tell you something. 80% of what you need to learn, maybe not 80%, but close to 70%, is storytelling, effective storytelling. You have to be able to pass an information. But one way people learn is what? Storytelling. It's not just in Africa, but in every part of the world. You learn better with stories, right? For example, the holy books, the Quran or the Bible, is written 80% of what you see there is what? Stories. Because God knows that that's how we learn. So what do you think as a human? Tell stories too. You understand? Tell people the story of how your day has been. You think people don't are not interested in your day? For example, you came early and your instructor wasn't around. People are like, why now? Those stories are important. Imagine I'm like you're like this. Okay, you call your name on TikTok. I'm on here. Just imagine. I came for my class on digital marketing, and the instructor is not even here. Imagine that energy, right? That's energy. I don't understand these people. They don't know how to do business at all. I don't understand them. And this is the second time. This is not even the like the fourth class, but this is the second time that I'm coming here, and these guys are not here. But guess what, guys? He even called me that I'm coming late, so that's very fine. Did you observe? I just what turned the script. So initially, the kind of energy was what to pull attention, and the next thing, what am I doing? I'm what? I'm breaking it down. I'm turning the script around. Okay, so that's something you have to learn. It's psychology. You have to learn it. Before you came into this place, right? You saw a number of gadgets and things you wanted to buy, right? Did you buy them? Why? Why didn't you buy them? Was it just lack of resources? It wasn't. Can I show you why it wasn't lack of resources? It wasn't lack of resources. I'll tell you what it is. But before I do, let me tell you what it was in an explanation. Imagine, for example, someone called you and says it's an emergency, a very close friend, and she needs 300K for surgery. Would you make moves and be able to get it, or let your friend die? It's not lack of resources. It's the fact that it's not on your priority at the moment. When something gets into your psychology, gets into your mind as a must, you do it. Whether you have money or not, you will borrow. Have you noticed people give out their school fees to for Ponzi scheme? You've not seen it. Their house rent, their life saving, because that scheme, which is known as a Ponzi scheme, has become their number one priority. Marketing is a game of psychology. That's what you have to understand. It's not about how much money your client have or has. It's more about bringing them to that experience even before they are having that enjoyment or that tapping into your product or service. You get it? That's why some businesses do better than others. For example, I want to ask you this question. If you want to feel happy, what do you often do? You want to feel happy, let's say you're sad right now, what do you do? Sleep. That's fine. And that's a very super answer. But you know what? Most humans are machines. They're angry, they go on TikTok. You understand? So TikTok has been like a cure to depression. It's not actually, it is superficial cure. It's not really a cure. You understand? Now, this is another question again. What drink is associated to happiness? What would you say? No, okay. I mean soft drink. Yeah. Fanta. Okay, maybe that's your own anyway. But Fanta, that's very fine too. Why is Fanta associated with happiness? Can you tell me what? Happiness. Smart. That's the idea. Does color make people happy? It doesn't, but to a level it does. For example, if I'm putting on if a lady's putting on a red dress, she's more attractive in a room than a black dress. I don't know if you know this. Colors are very powerful. And that is why when you're in a company, their color code is very important. You get it? Color codes are very important. And that's you may not be the graphic designer, but people should understand that colors do speak. Okay? Colors do what? Do speak. There are certain graphic designs that are very simple, but because it was used with the right colors, people easily respond. Like the example I just gave, red. Another color happens to be the yellow, color Fanta. Another color is also horse blood, navy blue. This deep color has an association with the brain. By nature, I don't mean something was done, because of over advertisement. No, they have an association with the brain. Do you understand? So that's how it works. So you have to understand how to position an experience before anything. You understand? Position the experience. That's the first thing people should have. Experience. It's not about how much money they are using, but what? The experience. If I can grab the experience, I'm sure to turn over my money. I'm telling you. For example, the friend who called you and like, I need surgery. You already have the picture of what will happen to my friend. She's going to die. I can't let this happen. I don't want to miss my friend. She's been very important to me. She's an advantage to me. I don't want to lose this person. Even if we're not able to come up with all the amounts, but you do something, right? But do you understand that if that day passes by and you didn't do anything in time, the the the, the intrusiveness or the desire to make moves begins to go down as well. Are you aware? So in other words, your experience must not only feed people with the desire to take action, but they must make the action immediately. You remember what I'm trying to say? You understand what I'm trying to say, right? Marketing is psychology. They must take that action immediately, not later, but immediately. They've got to make that move immediately. You're having a webinar, you're having a section. It cannot be later. It cannot be what? Be later. It has to be now. Now. You come into your automobile warehouse. They've got to make moves. make a deposit or pay all. You're talking about real estate. Make them afraid that the price of land will increase and they won't get it. But what do we see? Most real estate vendors or realtors, they are so relaxed. You have to put in that cap, the cap of a marketer, of a psychologist, be a counselor. That's the idea. Yeah, see, this is it. Before you sell a product, solve a problem. Remember that quote. Before you sell a product, solve what? Solve a problem. And that problem has to be an actual problem. But there are two parts of this, and I have to indicate it. It can be an actual problem, or it can be a problem you can stimulate. And this is very evil anyway. You understand? For example, permit me, permit me to use this example. Now, it is for me as a person, when it comes to maybe getting married or other stuff, it has to be your decision. It is not compulsory. You get. But imagine when your parents speaks about it, like if you don't eat, it's like you're not a you're a nobody. What happens? They are what producing that feeling like it is compulsory, right? That's what happened as a marketer. Your parents are also marketers. Yeah, they are. The boss of the company has to be the number one marketer, not just to clients but also to employees. You get that's how it happens. So I hope you understand. If you can't remember these things, this is what I'm going to do. Apart from putting this video online for you to see if you want to, or send it to, if you want to still receive the video, no problem. You can always go through your audio, right? That's it. Now, marketing involves four steps. Okay, marketing involves. You can write this. Marketing involves four steps. Whether it is traditional marketing, which I'm going to go into later, or digital marketing. Marketing involves four steps. Number one, audience research. Audience research slash market research. Once I'm 1 hour into my class or 1 hour 30 minutes, we we actually do a practical. Yeah. Audience research or market research. Okay. B or number two, content creation. Content creation. The next one, the third one is content view. Semicolon, get your message in front of audience. Content view, semicolon, get your message in front of audience. Then the last one, evaluation and optimization. You got it right? Do I have to go over this? Should I explain all this? All right, because I don't have it for them. Never needed it for. When we talk about market research, or now let me give you a shocker. I've never seen a company that is doing so well that doesn't have a customer avatar or an ICP. Okay, it's the same thing. Identity, customer profile, or customer avatar is the same thing. Now, what's a customer avatar? A customer avatar is, in other words, your ID customer. What do they look like? How they behave? Their interests, their behavior, demography. You understand? Now, if you're into fashion, you've got to know the kind of people your product appeal to. You understand? And you get to know this in what we call market research. Do you understand? I mean, there's a lot of things I have to share with you on this market research. So you've written that down, right? All right, subheading market research. Underline. It's going to be crazy. There are 9 principles of market research. It's not in my notes. Something that now, before I proceed, you have to go get the book. What I'm going to teach you right now is from the book Sell Like Crazy, the one I spoke about. Okay, it works like magic. Though there are additional stuff which with time you will get to know, which are not in the book. It's fine. Okay, uh, but those 9 principles works so well. Sell Like Crazy by Simon Scooby. Now, the first one is you've got to know number one principle of market research. Okay, of effective market research. Number one, this is number one. There are 9, but I added an additional one because this is far. To me, this is far more important than any other thing. Okay, number one, you have to make a decision, or should I say a decision? That wouldn't be the word. You have to know who you want to sell to. Number one, that's number one principle. Know who you want to sell to. You have to know who you want to sell to. Yeah. Let me explain that. Now, for example, if you own a car stand, hmm, you can or you want to own a car stand, or maybe you own a car stand, or you want to work for a company that is into automobile and car vendor. You get now. You can create a marketing strategy that appeals to people in the middle class, or create a marketing strategy that appeals to people on the top level, the elite. You get it, and that's because it's your choice who you want to appeal to. So the question, therefore, is who do you want to appeal to? Now, there are certain products that appeal to everyone, but you don't get these two set of individuals don't get in the same place. You get it? For example, there are people who would not buy Gary except except it's in the supermarket, and there are people who are fine going to a place that is not really that is quite dirty and buy their Gary. So the question is this: who are you? Who do you want to sell to? Do you want to sell to people who can pay hundreds of millions for a car, or you want to sell to people who will pay in installments? Those are two different type of audience. That's number one. Once you get that, the second question is, or the second principle, okay, which you have to understand is where is 70% of that audience congregated? That's number two. Where is 70%, or where are they congregated? Where are 70% of my audience congregated? That is, where are they gathered? Have you written that down? All right. Where are they congregated? And if you wrote where are they congregated, open bracket 70%, you have to go for the most. Okay. Now you can go with 10%, but you want to know where most are gathered. Now, this question brings you to the fact that there are people who are in certain clubs. Okay, they're in certain clubs, and so if you want your product, you have to be a member of that club. You get the idea? For example, you want to communicate with billionaires. Huh? You will not get them on the streets in probably a common place, right? Because they are very security conscious. So where would you find these billionaires? Now, you don't only want to find these billionaires, you want them to trust you, right? So what's the idea? You go meet them where they are, online, offline, whatever it is. Sometimes I've seen this movie where a guy chooses to go on business flight and not the economic because he wants to communicate with an investor. So in other words, you have to be where they are, not where you want to be. Imagine a business who decides to be on Facebook because Facebook ad is cheap. Because the truth is, Facebook ad is cheaper than LinkedIn. I don't know if you know, it's cheaper. But if your audience is in LinkedIn, it doesn't matter how cheap Facebook ad is. Facebook ad will not reach out to people in LinkedIn. You understand? If you want people on LinkedIn, you run LinkedIn ads. So you have to know where your audience is congregated. You want 70% of those people. Whether it is cold audience or warm audience, that is people. A cold audience, let me explain. You can write this down. A cold audience are fresh people who are not ready. They are both people who are not ready to make a decision and also people you're meeting for the first time. They don't know you. That's a cold audience. Why a warm audience are people that you know, and also it also refers to people who are willing to make decisions within a week or two, or maximum a month. That's a warm audience. Now you've got to know where they are congregated. You understand? I hope you're recording this because you're not taking note of anything. Like I said, there are things I will explain from experience. Okay. Now you've got to know where they are congregated. You have to know where they are. You get the idea? Once you know where they are, it becomes easy to fish. You get it? It becomes very easy to get what you want. That's something very beautiful about marketing. Now, having done this, you now know where they are. Principle three, or the third principle. What is the number one frustration? What's their number one frustration slash pain points? Now, you want to know what hurts them so much concerning that product. Probably one challenge they have with car vendors is that uh, they have this. For example, imagine, let's put ourselves into that picture right now. You're a billionaire right now, okay? Imagine you're a billionaire right now, and you're able to get a car from. You often get luxury cars, right? What would you obviously you're not even right, okay, but just put yourself in that shoe. Imagine you're one, right? What would you say would be the number one challenge to this kid is making noise? What would you say would be the number one challenge? Excuse me, please. There will be several challenges. That's the reality. One of it will be the fact that you don't often get good repairs because the parts are scarce, right? Another one could be the fact that delay in shipment. For example, if those cars are coming out from outside the country, the delay could be something that you don't want. You understand? And so for a marketer, you can't handle everything. Okay. What you do is this: you provide recommendations to a company because that's not your field. You can advise the company to be also that car vendor to also provide repair services. In other words, once you have a client and they have to be a registered member, someone can just barge in and say, okay, I want you to repair my car. But if they bought a car from you once or twice, you can not only get free repair, I mean on basic stuff, but they get tested for as long as they want. You understand? You get them that kind of repair, so they don't have to stress themselves looking for parts. Then the other one, like I said, is quick delivery. You understand? That's very important. So once you know their frustration, their pain points, the next thing you have to move into is what we call their challenges. That's the next principle. What are their challenges? You write it down. It is not the same thing as a frustration. I will explain. The next one is what are their challenges? A frustration is it's like a mountain. Yeah. The frustration is like a mountain. Challenges are like stones. You've heard the word seamless, right? What comes to your mind when you hear the word seamless? Effective without any issue, without any stress. So imagine if you can order for whatever you want while you're sitting here. You don't have to do anything. You just make a call and then nothing at all. But imagine if I make it even more simpler. You don't have to make a call. You just have to feel you want to eat. Just imagine that I can know when you're feeling hungry. So you don't have to order. You just feel, and before you know, the food is before you. So you didn't have to say. You just had a feeling. And that's what Elon Musk is working right now on neural impulse. I think that's the name of the company, right? Are you aware of it? Okay, where they're having neural implants in brains. And so you can actually control a car with what you're thinking. They're not there yet. So these are levels to service. You understand? you have no implants, and then you can drive a car without touching it. You can order for something, or you can have a particular type of song played to you because of how you're feeling there. You understand? So you know you have your own personalized doctor. You get the idea. So in the same way, these are levels. So those little challenges, you're making life seamless for your clients. They are billionaires. One way could be you create a private group for them and you ensure they feel on top. You understand? They don't feel like everybody. They feel very special. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's what makes the difference here. Until they feel very special. Hmm? See, you have to make everybody feel special. The more you make people feel special, because the truth is, if they feel very special being with you, they don't want to go anywhere else. You understand? So that's what happens when you take. And how do you make people feel special? Take off those challenges. You understand? Imagine if I take all the challenges, all the risk. I mean, you just, it's like heaven. You want to come with me every single time, right? That's what happened. And that's why people who own massage parlors are not selling. This is what they sell. They sell comfort. But there's a better way to make people feel this desire. Imagine if, apart from obviously, there's this thing called house service. You don't need to. Imagine if you can actually make a call and book your time and everything right from the house. But for most of them, they don't have these services. As simple as that. You get it? You see, this simple basic stuff can actually make you business can make businesses increase their sales by 25%. You get by 25, is it 25? I mean about 250% rather, not even 25. About times 25 times of the obvious the usual sales. It's very possible because of these basic services. Why do you think banks have customer services? Have you ever thought about it? Imagine if you want to do something and there was nobody to talk to. Your card isn't working well, there's nobody to talk to. All the banks just they just want you to just take your money, save it up, and give it back to you. Imagine what will happen. Or maybe someone who suffered from scam, who was a victim of scam. You get there's nobody to talk to. How would you feel? You feel very abandoned. You would even feel like the bank even scammed you, that it was they connived in something. You get that's what I'm talking about. So you have to handle those challenges. Your business should be so organized, huh, that people have no desire to go anywhere else. You should be so good in providing your service that they have no reason to think about your competitor. You understand? They've got no desire for your competitor. Do you understand? Now, that's one principle, the fourth principle. All right. Now we're going for the remaining six. The next one is this, which is very, very important. I think I'm going to take this one as the last one, but the last one is actually what makes them happy. So I'm going to take it as the last one, okay? Now, you may want to write it down as number 10, and the number 9 would be what does a day look like in a customer's life? That's number 9. And so number 8 would be I'm coming. I think I'm going to have to read through. I just The next thing you have to consider is where do they get their information from? Whenever your customers write it down, where do they get their information from when they're in search mode? Where, not when, but where? Where do they get their information from whenever they're in search mode? You see, when this book was published by Sabisubi, AI wasn't a common fact. You understand? But he has always been updating things. And one of the updates he has provided has been on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel. And so, even without his YouTube channel, there's something that you have to understand. Um, there's this thing called AI, which you know, right? Have you ever used ChatGPT to search for something? How often do you use it? Is it like once a month, once a day, or once a year? Okay, once a month. Okay. Okay. When the month is it on the 12th or on the 10th? How can you be so specific? You're a joker. It's not possible to be that specific. But do you often use it? Okay, you don't often. Okay, why don't you often use it? All right. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Now, it's stated that over 46% of search happen with happens on I think on ChatGPT and not on Google anymore. And so from ChatGPT that directed to Google. That's one. Then two, over 50% of search right now happens to be to result to no click challenge. I will explain that. Or rather no click result. What it means is this, first of all, that people are now depending on AI for basic query. You understand? For basic information. And like what we saw yesterday, when you search for what is digital marketing, was that a website or an AI that answered you? AI. So in other words, even if I have a website where I provide information, if my website is not augmented and optimized so that AI can use my own definition and put it out there, what happens is that I would lose in traffic. I will lose in, for example, if someone is asking about what is digital marketing, probably they want to consider taking a course, right? That's it. So you have to think about where they get their information. So if they often get their information from ChatGPT, it means that you have to be well optimized to appear on what to so that your information can be used by ChatGPT. Because what happens is this ChatGPT doesn't only provide information; it often provides a link to that content. And so when people hit the link, they get directed to what your website. But apart from AI, people often perform their search on what on Google. That is why it is therefore important for you to appear on Google. And there are several ways to appear on Google. We talked about the first one, Google Map, right? You don't have to have a website to appear on Google Map. Actually, you don't have to have one. They are cheap website anyway, but I don't advise it's better you don't have one than have a cheap website because that means website has a lot of functions. You don't have a cheap one. Okay, that's the first one. Google, okay. The second one happens to be, I mean, on Google, one is Google Map, the other one is having a website, right? The other one, which you should have seen, is being on YouTube. Yeah, there's any search you would go for, and you will have your content appear on what? On Google. Your videos on YouTube is appearing on what? You've seen that happen, right? That's why YouTube videos are very important for companies. So, you know what I'm trying to say is that every of this type of marketing is interconnected. They are all connected. In fact, that's not the word internet. Internet means interconnected network. The inter and net are not the same. They became a word later on, but they are two separate words. Inter and net. Okay, internet. The inter there is for what? Interconnected. The net for what? Network. So it means what? Interconnected network. So when we talk about multi-channel marketing, it's the same thing. It's just another phrase for the same thing. The internet houses the social media platform, your email, right? Your YouTube, your website. So what we're saying is this: do all you can to appear everywhere. You understand? So right now, it is no more search engine optimization for website. It's now general engine optimization or general appearance optimization, JAO. You understand? Because of the ChatGPT, what I often do or advise companies is that they build their community and also build their brand for consistency. You understand what I'm trying to say? Are you sure you understand what I'm trying to say? You didn't get the last part when I said build a community and build a brand. You've seen vendors with one WhatsApp group, right? That's a very simple example. So they have this privacy or this 100% selfishness to their audience. You obviously know that that odd community on WhatsApp is more powerful than a Facebook group. Are you aware? Let me explain. It's way powerful. Let me explain. If you put out a content on Facebook, not everyone in your group or page will see it. You know that, right? But in your community, will everyone get to see it? That's why they are more powerful. You can nurture lead in a WhatsApp community or in an email or an email list. You understand? It doesn't have to be WhatsApp anyway, but it has to be a community where you have 100% response. Everyone can see what's happening. You get that's it. Hope you understand now. Then for branding is a different topic of its own. Okay, branding is okay. I often give this example. Branding is your character, your consistency in what you do. So if, for example, a company has poor reputation, that's a brand. They have poor brand. But if they are consistent, they show excellence in what they do. They have what a very strong brand. So branding is what people say behind you. It's not just your color, your font, or your logo. It's what people say. It's your character, your level of consistency or inconsistency. That's your brand. It's also your message. Branding is also what? Your message. You understand? Marketing is about messaging to people. Then the branding itself is the consistency of your message over a long period of time. So a brand is not a brand just by initiation, but by consistency over a period of time. You understand? A brand is supposed to stay consistent. So if, for example, McDonald's, you know McDonald's, right? They'll, they'll give you a burger in how many seconds? 30 seconds, 60 seconds. And everybody knows that they are always consistent. You order for something right now, you get it in 30 seconds, a burger. That's fast, right? That is their brand. That is. Chick-fil-A, they also have their own brand. They offer burgers, right? But in a different sense. Hope you understand. So every company has got to have a character, a good one. That's what makes your brand. Do you understand now? So that's what number is that now? Number five. All right. So we're gonna move to the next one. I'm gonna read it out. The next one is what are your hopes, dreams, and desire? 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 All right. Now, this is what we're doing. We're trying to create the future they want. You can put that in brackets. Create the future they want. Your dream is your future, right? That's it. That's what you want. For example, you want to be a medical doctor or you want to be a fashion model, whatever it is. That's your dream. Or you want to be a troublemaker. That is your dream. Mhm. So you choose on what you want, right? Imagine if I provided your services that is in connection to what you want. Well, let me give you a quick example. Imagine someone who wants to be a medical doctor, right? And he's in secondary school, or she is. And what happens is that the school prepares this individual for the JAM, right? Or for CTME. They don't only do that. If you want to travel outside the country, for that, they make it so seamless. In other words, the school is connected to international bodies. You understand? So it becomes very easy for anyone to move from here. So in other words, I have a dream, and without even moving a finger, it make it look so simple. Give an example. OPay, okay? OPay. You know OPay is so easy to use compared to other apps. I mean, other non-mobile accounts like Zenith and Zenith. Are you aware? Okay. It's very easy. Anyone anywhere can create an OPay account, right? And start using it. It's easy because they have less question they'll ask you. You understand? And so what it is they make it look so what seamless and it's seamless actually. So that's during the lockdown 2020, mobile banks became so powerful because people could not move around because of the COVID-19. Remember, right? That was even when I think that was when MoneyPoint became a unicorn company. A unicorn company is a company that is worth $1 billion. You get so MoneyPoint was it MoneyPoint? I think it was MoneyPoint. It became a unicorn company in 2020. That should be the year because of a lot of companies need a lot of money, especially those in entertainment and other field. So what am I trying to say? The point is that when you understand their hopes, their dreams, and their desires. Seek to make it possible. You understand? You've got to make it real. Okay? You have to make it look so normal. And there's nothing wrong in asking your clients if that's what they want. You get it? Ask them, what are your dreams? What do you want to achieve in the next 5 years? What do you want? Be part of their dreams. You understand? Be part of that reality. When you can do that, can I have a pen? No, when you can do that, when you do that rather, you've unknowingly become that person. Now, I'm going to write this down. Asking clients their dreams, hope, and desire in the next 2 to 5 years. All right, so that's it. Now, we're working on market research, okay? Now, the next thing is the next question. You've got to ask your audiences. We're talking about challenge, right? And this one is very, very important. What is their preferred form of communication? That's open. What's their preferred form of communication? What is their preferred form of communication? Now, if you've got people if you have people in YouTube, you often have like you know what's successful about where they communicate, right? Where 67% of your audience communicates. If they're on YouTube and you don't like videos, you have to start liking videos. Remember when I said something upstairs, when I said to you guys that there are things you may not like, for example, reading, but you have to like it because of where you're going to. You understand? In the same vein, even if you don't like videos, you have to start learning how to create videos. For example, I don't like being on social media. I don't like it. But I got into the social media space because I understand that my audience are there, so I have to get used to it. Yesterday, I think I posted twice, one video and then a series of graphic design for what's happening on tours. I'm having a representative you guys before, right? Now, it's not part of me, but it wasn't part of me earlier on. You get. Now, if the preferred form of communication is video, don't do audio. If they enjoy audio, that is being on podcasts, while they are driving, they are listening to your podcast channel. Awesome, you're good. But if they enjoy videos, audio, graphic design, give it to them. Videos, you're on YouTube, you're on Facebook, right? Audio, you have a podcast channel, right? Instagram for graphic designs or your beautiful pics, right? That's it. That's how it works. You have to give to people what they want, know what you feel like. So if that preferred form of communication is reading content on LinkedIn or on your website, okay, that's fine. For example, one place I need to understand is see, there's this connection here I want you to see. There's this network here, this connection like a spider web. I want you to see this. Their preferred form of communication is actually connected to where they are congregated and also connected to where they often go to search for information. In other words, if for example, people would often go to Google, there's a possibility that they enjoy reading. Maybe not enjoy reading, but when they want information, that's what happens. See, let me explain. It doesn't mean that's the only thing, because when it comes to people buying, there are different levels. We have awareness. So people can become aware of what you're selling on Google, right? Then they can be maybe they saw a video of that same stuff, right? On YouTube, someone talking about it. And you're also on YouTube and you also spoke about that same stuff. So they saw your video, right? Then you also have an e-commerce website or social media handle where people can just call the number there and they get to your product, right? So in other words, there are five processes anyway, levels to people buying. It's the first one is awareness. The next one is interest. The next one is desire. After desire, conversion. After conversion is advocacy and loyalty. You get it? And every company should look for how to get to the fifth. You understand? There's a lot of things I'm trying to share here. Don't worry, you will always be able to. I will always go by it again. I know it's a lot, Abby. It's quite a lot. Did you know that marketing was just crazy? Don't worry, you get it. I will always go by it again. So you have to understand that preferred form of communication. You understand now? Now, this next one from the book says, what phrases, exact language, and vernacular do they use? What phrases, exact language, and vernacular do they use? For example, the one we talked about, the car vendors, right? Who often say stuff like, where can I get the right car to use? What's that exact phrase? Could be, maybe it's, what's the best repair person in Lagos State or in Delta State, Benin State, whatever they are, okay? So they want to know, and how soon can I get my vehicle serviced? And I want to have the so that's the usual vernacular. You know why it's important? Or their usual phrase. Do you know why it's important? So if you're writing a content, shape it in. Answer all of those vernacular. In fact, use it as an heading. Are you thinking about the right place to get your car serviced? See what I'm talking about, right? For example, if I go on Google, huh, and I search it out, remember this. This is what I'm going to say. And I search it out. Where can I get my car properly serviced? Guess what? AI is going to tell me, give me a list of places. Do you understand? What about if my website happens to be the website where ChatGPT or Bird, okay, got that information? What happened is 80% of people would end up clicking on my website to get more information, right? Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you know what? Those phrases are themselves a topic. Your pen again, please. So this is what I'm trying to say here. Turn phrases into topics. Turn phrases, vernacular. What other words again? Phrases, vernacular, and what? And language. But especially phrases into what? Topics. That's how you get better. That's one way to get better with search engine optimization. You understand? Hope you got that right. Okay. The next one. What does a day look like in your buyer's life? What does a day look like in your buyer's life? What does a day look like in your buyer's life? Now think about it. You want to appeal to billionaires. You want to send them a message, right? When do you think is the best time to post that you're sure that they will respond, or to come to their office and communicate your deal with them? When do you think is the best time? Okay, well, it depends. It depends, and it's not just about when; it's also where. You get it? It's both where and where. So, for example, if I'm on vacation, I may probably not take a deal serious, or I might. You understand? So you have to know the best place to meet them, and you also have to know when within that place. You get it? You also don't want to talk about a deed when you're having a funeral, right? Exactly. Except your deal is about how to raise the dead or how to keep the dead dead, especially if you don't want to see that person again. You understand what I'm trying to say? You get the point. So if you're selling something on the, you have to ask yourself like the connection of the funeral and the dead and dead alive. Okay, you have to ask yourself, what I'm selling right now, is this the best place for it? Think of how they live their life every day. In the morning, they drink a cup of coffee. Probably that morning time is the best time for me to run out, right? Because in the morning time, some people take coffee, right? And I have a new brand of coffee. And this one is more nutritious. It has a lot of vitamins, minerals. You take this one and you're more awake. What happened? I run ads in the morning. Or ensure my ads are what? Are scheduled to run for money, right? That's it. So you've got to know when. It's not just you can post your content. I don't advise people post content anytime. I will advise that it's fresh. So midday or twice in the evening, maybe by 3 or by 2 or by 4, so that by 6 p.m. people can get it, or even by that maybe like 30 minutes before people get online. You understand? And you have a lot of people tripping in. The algorithm is hot. AI is feeding you with with a lot of audience. That's what happens. So my point is that you have to know the best time to communicate and to fraternize your offer with your audience. Do you understand? You've got to know the right time. Now, I want to ask you through this before I move on to number what now? Number 10. What makes them happy? What makes them happy? That's it. So you have to think about it. What will make Onye happy? Okay, let's say for example, as an instructor, what will make you happy? One way to know is to ask you. So in this class, what will make you happy? What's that thing that big thing in your mind that you're thinking of? What is it that will make you happy? Hmm? Okay, the air condition, you prefer it on. Okay. But we're not using the big generator. That's the issue. Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. Hmm? Wait, hold on. When you say air condition, we should give it to you or we should turn it on. Which of them? Okay, right. The thing is, we're using a small generator. And in fact, it's important that I ask you so that we know. Okay, apart from air condition, let's think about maybe in the next few months when you're okay. In association with this course, digital marketing, what will make you very happy? That one thing that will you said start working. Is that the biggest thing you just tell me? If for example you could design, I mean, imagine a gym, what a gym is. Aladdin. Imagine I was a genie, and I'm asking you, Onye, right now you're gonna have to tell me you have two riches and this is your last. Your digital marketing course, what's your desire? And this is your last wish. What are you gonna say? Alright. You just made it clear that you want more class. But that's fine. That's very fine. That's very fine. But that is very powerful too. What it therefore means that I cannot be sloppy without I teach you. You want all the information as much as you can. It means I cannot be lazy. I cannot be relaxed. I have to be up and doing what I'm doing. You understand? I have to. In fact, at the point I was feeling sorry for you, I was giving all these principles. You want to know why? I felt you were being overwhelmed and tired. Were you? It was until I asked you this question that I feel like, I think when you gave me that answer, I'm feeling encouraged because there's a lot I can teach. You understand? I can teach a lot in this area. I've had close to 10 years of experience in marketing. So yeah. So that's the 10, right? That's it. Now, this is an hour and 8 minutes. So now you know how to do your market research. Once you do your market research, until then, listen to, yeah, go on, please. There are plenty, plenty. The answers. Okay. There are several ways. Asking them is questionnaire, right? Survey is also like questionnaire but online. Yeah. Now, that's one way to do it. For example, what are their phrases, right? The right place to get their phrases. Yeah, online. Then also one on one, like I did ask you. You can ask. Mhm. You will not. Thank you. That's a good question. As I said online. See, you have to be now. There's a quote you are going to write. Get into the conversation happening in your customer's mind. Yeah. I think that's according to. So I'm going to explain to you how it happens. Get into the conversation happening in your customer's mind. I'm going to explain something for you. Who said that again? I know it's in this book. Get into the conversation happening in your customer's mind. I can't exactly remember the person, but yeah, I'm going to search for that. Now, let me explain. Now, normally, you want to ask someone a question. For example, I have this information about clients that come here. You see the picture on my laptop, right? Okay, I'm going to turn off my laptop and turn it on. And you see the picture.